This conference will now be recorded.
It being 6:04, we will open the Tilton Budget Committee meeting of November 8th, 2023. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. So we will start, I guess we've got Twin Rivers Food Pantry is here. Okay, great. You can just sit there, or if you want to use the podium and want to pace back and forth, you can do that.
So I'm Cheryl Swenson, and I am the current president of the board for the Twin Rivers Food Pantry. And I'm accompanied by Daisy Blaisdell, who is our past president of the board of directors. And I guess my question to you is, do you have specific questions? I know we turned in an application and a lot of information, but is there something specific that you need from us? Questions, concerns that you've had?
Let's see. Let me check and see.
Because I can give you a little presentation, but I didn't know if you really had some specific questions for us that I would like to address those.
I might. I'll have to just check my paperwork here. I'm not very organized tonight.
On your application, the final page that you signed, do you have that with you?
I'm sorry, what was the question then?
I don't know if there's a more updated copy. I didn't get it, but please check following yes or no questions. Those are not marked off.
So on that back page, the yes and no questions.
Yes, please.
So we answered no to all those questions.
Okay.
Oh, so you just took the yes off and left the.
Yes.
Okay,
I took
okay.
I left the yes off.
Okay,
Okay, thank
Just
you.
answered it. Yes.
perfect. Thank you.
Is this the first year you've asked for money from Tilton?
Yes, it is. This is the first year we're asking funding from you and from any of the other municipalities that we serve.
When somebody comes in and uses your services, how do you determine their residency?
We just ask them where they live, because of what happens a lot of the times is people are moving, they're couch surfing, they may have a driver's license, but it may not be up to date. So we just ask them, where are you currently living? What's your phone number? That sort of thing. They do have to meet eligibility requirements in order to use our services. But again, most pantries now are just asking, what is the income? And they have to verbally give us the amounts of income in their household. We are not verifying that.
What are the eligibility requirements?
So it's based on the USDA federal guidelines.
And
what are
those are briefly? I'm not familiar with the USDA.
United States Department of
No,
Agriculture.
I know what it is, but
yeah,
what their
sorry.
guidelines are.
The guidelines right now are at 180% of the federal poverty level. They were up to 240% of the poverty level during COVID, but they have gone back down.
What's poverty level?
Excuse me?
What's poverty level?
The US.
Family size.
Yep.
What's that?
Depends on family size.
Oh, okay.
Different economic guidelines based on family size.
So if somebody had lost their job recently, didn't have any income, they wouldn't qualify.
They would qualify.
Would qualify. Have no income.
Okay, but they wouldn't be considered at the poverty level because they've only recently lost their job. I guess I
It's
don't
still,
understand.
at that point in time, if their income is nothing, they qualify under our guidelines.
Even though they may have had a $150,000 job previously a year?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand.
And you take their word for it, that
Yes.
what their
Yes.
income is, so someone could be lying to you and,
They could very well.
okay.
Yep.
Just,
Yep.
And if I said it was from Colebrook, that would be fine?
That would be fine. And we have been meeting with other pantries and talking. And we also recently came from a large gathering with the New Hampshire Food Bank and talking with the other food pantries. Pretty much this is what food pantries are doing. Most people are not requiring to look at, bring a utility bill or whatever. We are taking them at their word.
Sure.
You could probably tell you're a first food pantry.
No, there is
When-
another food pantry
No, that's come in.
But it's
that has
coming
already
from-
been here. There, what was that? The Cap?
Oh, they're not a food pantry.
Well, they have a food pantry.
Well, they
They're
do.
starting-
That's part of what
establishing
they
one,
do,
yes.
but
They're starting one
That's
in
yeah.
Franklin, and you're aware of that, right?
Yes, they were there before.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
they've been gone the
They
last
went
couple
away
of
and then
years.
they're coming back.
Right. And I talked with one of them and they said they have no idea at this point when they will be starting their food pantry back up. Yeah, but we all work
Down like
together.
here, who's running the pantry tonight? Aren't you open tonight?
Yes.
I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
everybody's here,
And the parking lot is full.
especially with the cold coming in.
So you're typically from communities, you're asking about 14,000 total?
Correct. There's 6 towns that make up about 92% of the households that we see. We haven't, the other 8% are made up of maybe another 10 towns that we might see 1 or 2 every once in a while come through. But primarily it is Franklin, Tilton, Northfield, Hill, Salisbury, and Andover.
But you never asked from us before. So
We have not
what-
asked
where
in the
did you get
past.
the funding?
So our funding comes from our own fundraising. We do some fundraising events in town. We do in June, New Hampshire Gives. We have an annual appeal that we do towards the end of the year. And we have a fabulous grant writer to my left here who does an amazing job trying to track down grants that would apply to us. But costs are rising. We're seeing a lot more families. And in our discussion with the board over a couple of months, the beginning of the year, we decided that we needed to look in other directions for some funding, some help with funding, and decided to reach out to those towns that we serve the most people.
Yeah, we don't have like last year's budget, do we? Or, I mean, typically we like to look at
Yep.
previous year's budgets, but I don't see that in here.
You should have received the budget year to date for 22. I believe that was part of your packet as well. If not, I have a copy that you
Wait,
can make copies from.
A balance sheet, is
Yeah.
that it?
So it's Twin Rivers Food Pantry budget year to date period,
Okay,
January
good.
1st to the 31st.
Assets. I don't have
I
that.
have that for 23. I don't have that for 20.
Yeah, we don't have,
Mm.
I have balance sheet for 22 and 21, but
Yeah.
that's not the revenue and
And you have balance sheets for 22 as well.
21, 22, and 20 for those.
Single sheets, but nothing else.
We don't have
I
the,
have
revenue
sheets you can make
sheets.
copies of.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm just, because this one jumps out at me, cash and cans. You know, they do a big fundraising, they keep all the money local. Does this mean you didn't get anything from them?
Not yet this year. 23, it doesn't come in till later
But you're
in December.
expecting, but it said actual year to date, nothing. You budgeted in 6,000. And you're expecting them to give you 9, so you're expecting it to go up? Is that how I'm reading it?
Yes,
Do you know what they've given you in the past?
yes, 9,000 last year, not actually 9,500 last year.
I was reading zero and I was like, that's a
Yeah,
little
no,
weird.
because it's not here yet.
Was that Fred?
It's in process,
Yeah.
Fred. Yes.
Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah.
They raise a lot, but it always
do.
stays local. So I just thought that was
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
that it had zero. I was just wondering why it was zero.
Oh,
If they get it to you by year end though,
Oh, yes.
Yes, yes.
See, copying
bring the
comparisons.
budget, yeah, the
Okay.
budget for 22. All we have is the single sheets for some reason.
But how much is your budget going up from last year?
Excuse me?
How much, approximately how much is your budget increasing from last year?
From last year, we have not, we're just starting the process to work on our 24 budget. So our ask is based on the usage for 2022, because we tried to make it equal across all the towns. So what we ended up doing, Franklin had given us some money. We took the amount that they gave us, divided it by the number of Franklin households that used us last year, and it came out to be $3.12 per household visit. So then we took that number, and last year Tilton had 411 visits, multiplied that, and I think it came up to be something like $1,282 and some change for Tilton. And we did that for every town that we are going to ask. So it would be equal across
Okay.
the board and based on the usage of the town residents.
Bill, you were asking about the budget increase from 2022 to 2023
Uh-huh.
was about
Or-
$60,000.
What was it?
Was about 60,000. The 134,000 in 2022 and 194 in 2023.
So that's the budget is increasing? Yeah.
Between 22 and 23, that's what's a change in the budget.
Okay. What caused that increase?
Increase in some salary for the director. We did a cost of living increase and a personal hygiene program, and the overall costs of everything. We do a weekend bag program in some of the schools, and the cost of the food that goes into those, everything was up there.
This is just a curiosity question. Didn't Feed the Need, wasn't that a grant?
Was it grant? Part of it is grant funded. It started out being almost totally grant funded through the Greater Lakes Region Children's Auction. The cost of that program has skyrocketed because we're not getting as many things from the food bank, and the prices of the things we have to buy has gone way up. That in this year's budget, that was a $35,000 line item. Probably 20 of that has been grant funded.
What's an ARPA grant?
The ARPA grant, those are the federal funds that came out of COVID. And we received some ARPA funds from Merrimack County. And the first grant went to completely to renovate, do some renovations to the building, and to also replace our old freezers and refrigerators so that we did not lose food sources because of the age of the equipment.
So why is there a grant expense of 38,000?
Because we have to expend that money first in order to get it, so it's reimbursable.
Thank you.
So I have the 2022 year, and your income went up like 26%, but your expense went down 15%. That's pretty good.
Very good. And what we've been doing the last couple of years, towards the end of the year, we do end up with some money left over. But like in everybody's household, like for towns and cities, you have to plan for emergencies. And we have, for the last couple of years, had the ability to put some money in reserve funding for emergencies.
Mhm.
We are planning, for instance, we have money that will put aside if for some reason some catastrophe happened and we had no money coming in, we could continue to operate for several months. We are putting some money aside because we know we'll have to replace our truck at some point. We also know because of the rising costs, we're not sure, would we have enough, is there enough in our budget when we talk about it in November and December, by the end of the following year, have costs gone up enough and we need to take some money out of reserve funds to be able to continue to sustain what we have been able to disperse. So we are lucky in that we are slowly beginning to build some reserve funding, and that's what we end up doing towards the end of the year.
Actually, now I see that on your balance sheet, all the different reserve funds you've created, which is good.
For
Yeah.
years and years, the pantry operated with whatever came in the given year. That was all you could do.
Mhm.
The generosity during COVID and some other gopher grants and things during that time put us at the point where we can look at going ahead and starting programs that are really important and really needed, like the personal hygiene, while at the same time we're increasing the funding sources to keep sustaining that program, but allowed us to be planning and thinking about the needs a little more realistically.
Sure, yeah. No. I mean, obviously you're a very important asset to the community, just like everybody that comes in here. So, any other questions?
I don't.
Okay.
I just want to say that, the food pantry in Franklin, we are more than just a food pantry. I mean, that's our primary goal, is to provide food for those in need who are worried about feeding their children, feeding in themselves. And we're seeing at least 4 new families every week. I mean, it's not here and there. It's every week there are new families coming in. We have veterans that are coming in saying, I never thought I'd be in this position. And we're glad that we're there to be able to provide food. We have started this program starting at the end of last year, where we're providing personal hygiene. We are finding that there are other pantries that are beginning to at least provide things like laundry detergent, keep the clean clothes. You're able to continue to go to work with confidence. Kids can go to school. And it's amazing to find out that just being able to provide toothpaste and a toothbrush, it helps them feel better. It also, health-wise, and I'm a retired nurse now, just being able to provide good oral hygiene affects health, because if you don't have good oral hygiene, you have increased risks for cardiac disease, increased risk for some cancers. You see increased risk for respiratory problems, even affects fertility and pregnancy issues. So it runs the gamut from children all the way to adults. So we've found that this program has been very helpful. It's been very appreciated by those that come through. They're able to select personal hygiene products once a month. Some people take just a couple of things, and there's other people that desperately need the more expensive things like disposable incontinence products. Menstrual products are very expensive. Diapers, $50 for a box, and children go through a number of diapers on a daily to weekly basis. The other thing that we do that I think is important too, and this is how some of the services kind of overlap a little bit, is that we, for all our people that come through shopping, is that we do provide guidance to other services. For Tilton residents, I mean, we are asking everybody who comes in, have you signed up for SNAP? Have you signed up from WIC? We may not be able to do that for them, but we can direct them to how to do it. If there's other things they need, we direct them to Belknap, CAP. There's a couple other agencies that we can direct them to as well. We're asking everybody who comes in now, the last couple of weeks, the mantra seems to be, have you thought about, needing fuel assistance? Have you thought about, X, Y, and Z, to try to get them thinking about the things they might need ahead of time before all of a sudden the deadlines have passed and that sort of thing. So we are really trying to look after our shoppers on a whole, besides just feeding them, besides providing them some personal hygiene things. And the other thing we've noticed too is we'll have some of our shoppers drive in together. A Tilton resident and Northfield resident that know each other will drive in together, do their shopping, and go home. And they tend to develop a community as well because they're out there in the parking lot waiting to come in. We can't have everybody in at the same time. We're a small area. But they develop some friendships. They develop other relationships, which is really nice to see as well.
I know CAP actually used to have a poster that they put up saying, call if you need any assistance. I don't know if they do that anymore. But.
Yep, and we have up where our shoppers have to come in and register every week. They have to show an ID. They have to tell us again how many in your household, how many under 18, how many over 60. But we have posters and resource guides of all the pantries in the area, drug and alcohol resource. They're listed up. When the food bank does mobile pantries at Belmont, Laconia, Franklin, we have all that posted so they know that. We have a couple other resources that will do some personal hygiene distributions, and we make sure they know that when those dates are, there's reminders. So we give them lots of information. It's almost kind of occasionally overload, but we try to provide them with as much assistance and direction as we can.
Great, thank you. All right. If we have any more questions, we'll probably review these, and then if we have any questions, we'll get in touch with you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay, we'll go to Tilton Northfield Rec. Brittany, you're up.
You're welcome.
You can podium, or you can just sit in the front here with the microphone. If, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, have a good night.
Hello,
Hi.
I am Brittany Stewart. I'm the executive director over at the Pines Community Center, and
Samantha Magoon, Recreation Director.
And we have our president, Jennifer Haskins here, as well as Rosemary Welch, who's the vice president. So just to bring everybody up to date, 2023, gosh, it's been quite a year for us. Program-wise, it's been wonderful. We're still, COVID's still around, but we've moved forward. Samantha's done a wonderful job with the programs. We offer a lot of different community events. October was, if you guys saw some of the flyers out on our Facebook page, we had pumpkin carving, we had a Halloween party and a haunted house. We had candy bar bingo that was Halloween themed, and then we just had our craft fair Saturday. So we have a Christmas breakfast coming up in December, as well as an elves workshop. So program-wise, wonderful. Building-wise, not so wonderful. It's been a tough year for us. The building's not that old, but it was, from what I understand, put together with a lot of used parts. So those used parts, some of them are starting to show their age. We had a burst pipe in February that was caused by the very, very low temps that we saw. That was fortunately covered by our insurance. And then we had a water heater that went. We had 2 circulator pumps that went. We had over the summer an issue with our septic and had the pump in the pump chamber that needed to be replaced, as well as a cast iron pipe that, for whatever reason, Rowell's was very unsure as to why it was installed that way, but that had to be replaced. So they did a little digging out back. That was resolved, but very costly project. And then when we started to get into the fall season where the lights had to come on, we realized we had 2 working parking lot lights That so those had to be replaced. So yes, it's been a year. Our fire suppression system still giving us trouble. The past few months, we've had Hampshire Fire out a few times, but
Is that a sprinkler?
the sprinkler system, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been
Did
told
you
over
get
the
a
years.
grant or something for that?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we received a $100,000 grant from Merrimack County
Great.
that will basically take care of a majority of the project, working with Hampshire Fire to figure out obviously what we're going to do with the remainder. I'm actually also working on another grant. You won't see this one. We did receive a grant in October that I applied for through DHHS. It was for childcare providers for $4,475. And I'm currently working with they've given another grant opportunity essentially, and I'm working on that to try to make up for some of the financial stressors that we've experienced with obviously all the building issues that we've experienced, and also take care of the remainder of that project so that we can get that fire suppression system taken care of at hopefully no cost to us, because our building fund has seen some hits, obviously, as you can imagine. With we had the boilers have been replaced within the past 2 years. We had to repave part of our parking lot. So there's a lot of new things in our building though. So that's, I guess, the upside to it, but it's been challenging. So, I mean, I have been doing my best to seek out grants to try to offset, especially with the facility. There's not a lot of operating grants out there, but there's certainly for project related expenses, hence the Merrimack County grant. So I've been doing my best, and I have another one coming in, like I said, with DHHS to try to get reimbursed for some of the repair costs. That's essentially what it's for. And then hopefully get the rest of that fire suppression system project funded. So that's not coming out of our pockets. It's grant funded.
Are you guys a 501c3 or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Any questions? There's a little bit of an increase.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought I wrote that down somewhere, but I can't seem to find it now.
Yeah.
Basically, what is it?
I think it's 20. I don't have that.
Yeah.
$29,412.
And per town,
Roughly.
the increase is
Oh,
Went
the
from
per town,
70
it's 2,250.
Went from 72.
250 to 75. It's
okay.
2,250.
So 2,500 per town.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So the increase in your salaries, did you have a set percentage or did you do it by the positions?
So
or was
we did it
overall?
So with our numbers for, obviously our childcare programs are a very consistent income for us. So we have to abide by or follow CCLU ratios. So we had a wait list for BCB. We now have 3 staff working in the morning. That's part of it. We have not filled our maintenance coordinator position. So myself, Samantha, and then one of our group leaders have actually been doing that on top of what we do. So we're looking to fill that position, though that's already a position that we have. It's just the person that left in December, we haven't filled it yet. But over the course of the year, with us doing the position, we've realized that we had to add some hours onto that. It's too big of a facility where the person previous was working a certain set amount of hours. This year, we've realized that those hours had to increase. And then that line itself too is us trying to get to a position with staff, retaining staff. As many of you know, obviously the cost of living has increased. We have lost staff, several over the years, in fact, due to our inability to be competitive with a lot of the places around. We're still not in a position where we're right there with them. We do have a staff member that left. She works for us too. She's loyal. She works for us 2 mornings a week, but she went down to Henniker. I mean, she travels from up here to Henniker because she can make $4 more an hour doing the same thing. So that also is bringing us to a point where we're paying, the girls that work over as paraprofessionals or their classroom assistants. We need those types of, staff members, especially for our childcare programs. But we can't pay them $9 an hour and expect them to stay, because a lot of these young people can go anywhere in the area, especially Tilton. There's just there's a lot of opportunities at the outlet mall, and everybody pays more than what we can offer. We just have to have a wonderful work environment and hope that, and get them to a point where, like I said, not up there with everybody else in the area, but we're trying. So that is why you'll see that number looking the way that it does.
Retention is a big issue right now. It is.
It is. It's for us, it's crucial. We can't run the childcare programs that we have without those group leaders. We can't. And I know I've said this in previous meetings, but for us, we have to go by what childcare licensing, like their guidelines. For a person to work alone with children, they have to be 18. They have to have a high school diploma. They have to meet one of 3 other criteria and then take 10 trainings, be CPR and first aid certified just to be alone with the kids.
Once you're fully staffed though, will you be able to take more kids in? To the program?
Yes, yes.
So your revenues will go up?
Yes. Yeah, that's the expectation. We did increase our program fees. We will be increasing our facility rental fees as well. Because we know that part of it has to come from us. Obviously, we, appreciate the town support, but we also know that we have to work hard for that other side of what we need to do as an organization. So, but yeah, and that's why we added that 3rd member in the morning, because we had such a hefty wait list that we're like, we have to find somebody, because this is consistent income for us. We need this income. We need the before and after school program. We need those vacation camps, and we need that summer program. So
Make some cleaning games that the kids could do. Just kidding.
listen, they did pull up all the sticky arrows off the floor from the craft fair, and they enjoyed every minute of it. So it wasn't even like they wanted to do it. They
Right,
enjoy
right.
that kind of stuff. But no, I have a whole new perspective for the maintenance and the.
Sure.
I think we both do. I
Right,
think we can
right.
say after. Yes, it's.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions?
I don't have anything.
Yeah. Again, you're another valuable service to the community, so thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
If you have any
Thank
more
you.
questions, we'll let you know.
Sounds great. Thank you
Yeah.
guys very
Thank
much.
you. All right, Franklin VNA, that must be you guys.
Last man standing.
Step right up to the next chairs.
Yeah, I was going to say, come on, you guys, get up there next to it.
Yeah. You were a little late with your application, but that's.
Uh-oh.
My apologies. I had submitted the letter and stuff. I didn't know of the application at the time.
Well, then
so.
I called and I talked to somebody and they said, we'll get it right out. And they never did. So I don't know what happened. And then so we had to call again. But
You're here. I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Sure. Again, I know we know how important you are. So.
Yeah. Thank you.
I can't believe 2 out of the 3 are wearing flip-flops.
Positive thinking. Positive thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things.
Snow in the morning.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I think you need
So
to
my name
stand
is
there.
Sherry Murray, and I'm the Executive Assistant HR Coordinator for Franklin VNA and Hospice. And to my right is Kristen Albert, our CEO. She's on vacation this week, hence the jeans. And to my left is Jennifer Boyce, who is our Revenue Integrity Manager. So to start off, you guys kind of know our services, but what we do is we provide home health and hospice services to 14 towns. Our primary demographic area, however, even though we go to 14 towns, the majority of our patients really are in Franklin, Tilton, Northfield, and Laconia for the majority of our patients. We also provide some private duties services. A lot of those patients are paid through grants, like we have a Merrimack County grant that Merrimack County pays for residents in Merrimack County to receive some homemaker services. They have to meet some income guidelines and require some health supervision in order to be part of that program. The last fiscal year, so our fiscal year runs January to December. However, when I do stats, I try to do your fiscal year so that it kind of makes sense for you guys. So in the last fiscal year, we provided $242,950 in unreimbursed care in community health clinics. And each year we always hope to do more than that. Of that amount, it was about $150,000 in charitable care. Where town appropriations go is they help us provide support service program, which is our homemaking services, which help us provide help to those in need of assistance with activities such as light housekeeping, meal prep, grocery shopping, errands, and socialization. A lot of these patients, we are their only touch point with human contact for the week. We are the ones stopping in, making sure that they are safe, helping them with daily tasks so that they can remain safely at home and not in facilities. We provide blood pressure clinics, flu clinics, and foot care clinics in the community. We provide a monthly clinic here in Tilton, and I actually had the stats for you on that. I apologize with my
This-
paper
I
flipping.
think we have, yeah,
Oh,
town visit comparison. Is
On the back of the one. Here.
oh yes.
it?
Um, so in the fiscal year that ended for you guys, for 2023, we provided 9 blood pressure clinics that were attended by 140 residents of Tilton, 1 flu vaccine clinic that was attended by 15 residents, and 3 community health education presentations. We have also attended the Tilton Northfield Old Home Day and the Tilton Trunk or Treat. So far for the fiscal year 2024, we've provided an additional 5 blood pressure clinics that have been attended by 82 residents of Tilton, and 1 flu clinic just last month that was attended by 17 residents.
Where were those clinics? I'm sorry.
They are provided at the senior center
In Tilton?
in Tilton.
Okay.
Yep. Franklin VNA Hospice is the preferred hospice provider for the VA home. We work directly with them. We provide as you guys were talking about staff shortages, due to staff shortages, we provide their staff and patients monthly education. And we were just recently asked last week to start providing education for the families of the VA patients in addition to. Do you guys have any questions for me before I go through stats? So
Well, yeah, no,
essentially from last fiscal year to this current fiscal year, we saw an increase of 10% in services for residents for the town of Tilton across the board. You'll see that we saw a 60% increase in social work visits, and that is because we have a huge increase of hospice patients in Tilton, and our social worker works directly weekly with every hospice patient and their families. So that's why there's a huge increase in the amount of social work visits.
now here it says Laconia didn't give you any money. Is that?
Correct. We're gonna, up until now, we have not requested money from Laconia. We saw very few patients from Laconia. It has started to increase. So we are making our first request to the town of Laconia.
And when you have the health clinics like at Tilton, that's open to every town.
That's open to anybody.
Right. But this is usually my complaint is that, if I compare Northfield and Tilton, they're practically the same patient visits, but you're only asking half as much money from them as you are from us.
And the reason why is because I feel bad saying this, they are in Merrimack County. So a good chunk of those visits are paid through from the Merrimack County grant that pays for the majority of their homemaking patients in their town are paid through that grant.
And Belknap County doesn't give.
Belknap County does not have a grant that we qualify for currently.
Okay.
Should they, please let us know. I will gladly go through the process, but I check every year and they haven't had one that we qualify for.
So how much money did they give you for Northfield?
From Northfield, it has been the $5,000.
No, but I mean, how much grant money do you get?
Oh, from the Merrimack County. The Merrimack County grant comes to us quarterly, and it's for the patients. Like I said, in the Merrimack County, they just approved us for the next fiscal year. I just found out last week for $25,000, and that's broken up quarterly.
And that's only for Northfield, or is it for?
No, that's for all the residents that we see in Merrimack County.
And how many other towns do you serve?
So I don't live in this area, so I'm going to butcher the town. So I'm going to apologize in advance. Usually I have a color coded chart in front of me, but it is a good chunk of our towns actually are in Merrimack County. I believe Merrimack County includes Franklin. It's Northfield. It includes Hill. I want to Andover. I want to say Sanborn. No. Salisbury. Okay.
Andover.
Moscow or any of those towns?
Boscawen, yeah. I'm not sure if Webster is. I think Webster is too.
No.
Yeah.
You're testing my geography here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The small outlier towns, we don't get a tremendous amount of patients to. And the other thing I should mention is that we never turn patients away, and we also don't bill our patients directly. We take patients on based on their medical needs, and whatever is not covered by their insurance is considered charitable care.
Oh,
This is
that's
just a
good.
curiosity thing. In your budget, there's a line item for bad debt.
For bad debt. So I'll let the revenue lady speak to that.
So bad debt is what we consider uncollectible money from insurance companies because we don't bill our patients. It's not a bad debt on them. It's more on the insurance companies. Sometimes they like to hold on to their money. And there are times when there are system issues or there are times when we're not able to collect on what we've billed. And so that's where that bad debt comes from.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
And one of the other things she didn't mention is a lot of our insurance companies take 3 to 6 months to pay anything at all, if not longer.
Is most of your revenue from a federal program?
The good chunk of our revenue comes from Medicare. A lot of our patients have Medicare. And Medicare has a lot of regulations and guidelines we must follow. So just because a patient has the insurance, we provide the service, does not mean they're going to pay us.
Do you have increase in salaries like everyone else?
Yes. So our residents, our employees, can get a raise up to 3% yearly. Doesn't mean everybody qualifies, and not everybody does. We'll be honest. We have had a little bit of turnover in the past year, not as high as it was during COVID, because COVID was very scary for healthcare workers in general, and a lot of people left the home health world to work ambulatory because they could do it from telehealth visits were a thing, and they could work from home and not actually see patients. So the newer hires we have hired in the past year are hired at a higher rate. Where, like you heard from the other nonprofits, is in order for us to compete with the other larger agencies such as Granite, we had to raise our salaries for our new hires.
Any other questions? Okay, great. If we do have any other questions, we'll let you know.
Okay.
But thank you for coming in.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you for your service.
Thank you. I was anticipating more questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to dream something up? So, tell me about the hospice ball.
It's all went over very, very well.
Where do you do that? The Elks? That's why I asked the catch and cans question.
Oh, I thought you looked familiar, but I couldn't figure out.
I'm young.
Oh, that was from the post office.
So
I'm going to make sure I tell her that next meeting.
she'll expect it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, thanks.
Well,
Okay. I don't think we have any other public comment. And I guess Christine didn't.
She didn't come in, so she must have figured we didn't need her. Or she got held up. She said something about a client or something.
Yeah, she said she was
may
gonna
not have been able to.
be,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we're glad you came, Judy. We were getting nervous.
Yeah, because we know we couldn't have a meeting without you.
I got a heating system. Joys of school ownership.
Okay, so let's go over the minutes of the last meeting, November 1st.
Oh, I'm freezing up here. It's cold.
Listen,
It's usually
Yeah, well, it's
boiling in here.
The moisture's coming in.
oh, good. Well,
So
we're
you're starting to
here.
feel that. Huh?
Flip flops.
Oh, yeah.
They're comfy.
Oh,
I make a motion to accept the minutes of Wednesday, November 1st, as written.
I do have a correction on Morris Woodrow's name in the others should be Reau, not OU, because you spelled it correctly
Okay.
in another spot.
Oh. I'll fix that.
Okay, I think I got these already.
I'll second it.
Any other
Question.
questions or, input? All those in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Got it. Anything anybody wants to say about tonight, or any issues?
No, just more stuff to
Yeah,
check over.
yeah.
I can save it until we talk about funding them.
Okay, yeah. Well, we want to do that next week.
Is that everybody at this point then,
Yeah.
for outside agencies?
This is 2010.
So we're good. Yeah,
They
because
have a 2020 and
winnowed
22.
out,
I asked them
a
to
lot
get
of
some,
stuff that
but
we didn't have to do.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I'll have to ask again.
So we want to talk about this next week. We'll talk about funding issues if we have any.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have a
So
lot of notes
the
there.
letter we were going to send out,
Okay.
I got my car back, but then I realized that we couldn't make a decision until we were sitting here together anyway.
Mhm.
So rather than trying to put it in an email, I thought it'd be easier to talk about it. So the letter we plan on sending out. Upon review of the financial information you provided, we have decided that we will not be funding your organization this year. So the Board of Selectmen asked if we would change that because we're not the ones that are funding them. It's up to the legislative body.
Okay, so we should
So we're
say
not
we're
recommending
not recommending
this year.
funding.
We will not be
Bringing your request forward. No.
in our budget
Right.
because the selectmen, even though our budget is the one that goes to the legislative body, they just felt like, well,
They thought we were being too important. We're just taking too much responsibility for the budget.
probably.
We showed them.
Well, the fact, that they could include it in their budget, even
Right.
though we didn't.
Right.
But I did point out, ours is the budget that goes to the legislative body. So the suggested will not be including your request for funding in the budget committee's budget. That's just a
Or in
suggestion.
the budget recommended by the budget committee, something like that. Yeah,
Well, the budget committee's budget.
I know, that just seems like a lot. Budget committee's budget.
I know.
The budget submitted by the budget committee. I don't know. Approved by. That's fine. I don't care. I don't want to step on toes.
It's a lot of budget, but it says what needs to be said.
Sure.
I mean,
budget-
that's just a
about-
suggestion. So
We will not be including your, well, wait a minute, I had it, I lost it. I'll get it back in a second.
We will not be recommending
That was it.
We will not be
recommending-
including
your request,
your funding request
funding request.
in the budget committee's budget
Oh, that makes sense.
for your
We'll be
organization
including
this
that.
year.
Okay, so
I'll play with it and
Recommending then
Yeah, you
doesn't
could
fit in.
I'll
put
get
a
all that.
draft and send it out and we'll comment on that. How's
Yep.
We'll play with it.
Play with it.
However, we have more power than the selectmen.
that?
I did try to point that out.
I'm kidding.
And it's awful. I try not to act annoyed when I am, but I was really annoyed. I mean, my brain was going, are you kidding? But
How much time did you spend on that?
probably 10, 15 minutes, but they did have a point.
Yeah, they did.
They did have a point.
It's not just up to us.
So anyway,
Okay, so, and we did get some
Yeah.
response.
Yep, I included the cap. I printed out the whole, all 10 towns that they included.
Okay, great,
And the
great. So we can look
library.
at stuff. And then we have,
Also, the library sent their follow-up.
I didn't think that follow-up was very clear.
No.
I
I
read
think
that
it
and
was the
it's
same
just, it seems to be the same thing
Level
they
of
said before,
response we had
which is,
before.
they don't really have any specifics on anything.
I just want to like, what new programs are you adding? Tell me
Right.
What ones you're adding?
Well, they have that. That's on,
How? Do they?
yeah, they have the programs from January to
Proposed
November.
Programs for 2024.
And then they also have proposed programs to the right of that to add.
Oh, is there something I missed on?
I don't have page numbers, so it's this one.
Oh,
It's
I
right
didn't-
after the budget.
I somehow missed that online.
It's right after your blue.
That's
Go-
why I
go to your
printed it
blue.
because it can get
That's
missed.
well, I read this online and I don't remember seeing all these other pages. So I
Well,
probably didn't
I'm
scroll
sorry,
down.
but more
Right.
trivia nights is not a new program.
I think the library, just my opinion, is moving away from being a library.
I would love to see these.
I mean, the Pines
At the
Community
Pines.
Center
Should be doing that.
should be
stuff.
doing that,
Right.
you know,
Escape room?
socializing program.
Yeah, and we could recommend that they.
That's all in order. I'll print it.
I have that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
A
thank
pet
you. She gave it.
medium? A pet medium is a program.
What?
Pet medium.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring my dog in and my dog's gonna tell you what's bothering him.
I know it's bothering your dog. I've met you.
What we
He's
should
spoiled.
what we should do is actually have refer those programs to the rec program.
This is I mean, history of tattoos.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably a legitimate literary subject.
The history of tattoos.
I bet there's a
I can't wait to
graphic.
hear about it.
I bet there's a graphic novel on there.
I'll bet it's
The
video.
graphic novel is like a comic.
Oh,
book.
I'm sure there is. I'm
Yeah,
sure there is, but I don't think our library is going in
Right.
that direction. They seem to be embracing technology.
Murder
And I
mystery.
know there's digital books, but I mean, there are still people, and a lot of them, that cannot read. And I don't mean at all, but they don't read well enough to pick up a book and read it unless it's, you know, C-spot run.
Murder mystery dinner theater. That would be great at the Pines.
Right. But that's what I'm afraid is our library has moved away from being a library. I mean,
They are. I think they're
it's a
trying to
what
be.
programs do they have to help, you know, people? I mean, they're about books. I realize there's more to books than just taking one off the shelf, digital books. What programs do they have to make those accessible to people who can't get to the library? What programs do they have for, I mean, I'm making an assumption, but they have homeless people come in, do they check to see, hey, you know, do you have any problems reading? Or, you know, what about people that are, there's a lot of people from other countries that come in that can't read English. Do we have any programs
English
to
isn't their
help
first
them?
language.
And
yeah.
those could be, you know, digital, but we don't, that's not what's happening.
Well, no, I think their purpose is good. They just want to get more people involved to come to the library. So that's, but
Make a
I am in
plastic
agreement
cup.
that reading is the most important thing that a library is there for. And
And it is,
to me, that would be great if they would actually deliver books to people. That would
Elderly
be a
people
much
or
greater,
something.
you know, and they could you know, have they done anything to partner with the senior center where, you know, they could,
Nope.
you know, people from the senior center could, you know, say, oh, I'd like to see this book or this book. And that's one trip to the senior center to deliver books instead of around the community. I mean, things like this, why aren't they doing these? These other programs take up space in what is really a small library.
right?
So what books are going? What tables are leaving to make room for these other things that have
Events.
nothing to
Yeah.
do with reading
Right, yeah.
or library, you know?
And they might
Social
not even
events.
have to read if in participating in these things, which is
Right.
is contrary to what that's about.
I mean, I used to go to a group, used to meet there. They were called the Happy Hookers. It was a crochet club,
Sure it was.
and they went there, and it was great. And it was, I think it was twice a month. It was a while
They have
ago.
a chess club too.
Right.
You know,
And those were great things, and people did socialize. And, you know, a lot of the people that were there while they were there would take out a book. But they only occupied a small little corner for a short time.
and I think
These
I
things
wasn't
are going to
sure.
utilize the space.
At one point,
Then
they
turn to a
had,
community center.
the
instead of
library, I
arts
think,
and-
had a program where they got businessmen or people to go and read a book to grade schoolers
Right.
That's one of my most favorite things. I remember growing up with my kids, reading to them every night. First of all, I got to read, and there was always these fascinating things they wanted me to read. So
And we've got the veterans home right here in town. Do a program where you read to the veterans, where you go up and visit the veterans and read to them.
yeah,
I mean, we did that way back when I was in Girl Scouts. We all had a adopted grandfather, and we would go up there on holidays and would sit and talk and we'd
Right.
read books and we'd give
Mhm.
them, you know, it was like community stuff. But you could go up and read to them.
Yeah.
You know, hang out.
Read them the newspaper.
I mean, so I think programs like that would be.
I do too.
There are quite a few book groups in the programs that I'm looking at here.
Okay,
Just a quick
yeah.
glimpse.
One of the questions I have, and I didn't think about it until after the meeting, is the current librarian, what are her qualifications?
High school diploma.
She's just been there 15 years.
Worked her way up.
Page and there.
So she's,
Last mention.
she has no education.
Well, wasn't she going to send us a
It should be in
breakdown
there
of?
too.
Is that in there too?
Yep.
Of what people
Yeah,
have?
somebody's reading it.
Okay,
I looked at it.
so that's in here. All right, good.
Okay, so let's review everything that we've got in the last couple of weeks, and next week we'll discuss that. How's that? Hopefully we'll have a quorum.
They still didn't get it on the comparison libraries. Hollis, Seabrook, Hampstead. What, you guys read it and see what you think. Those aren't comparables as far as I'm concerned. But anyway,
All right.
I mean, it seems
Delve into
the
it.
most comparable ones were paid less than we're paying them. Franklin
you had
and
true comparables.
Franklin and what was the other one?
Franklin's a city library. It doesn't compare to Tilton Northfield.
Right, but they don't pay as much. Their budget is less than ours.
Tell you right now, I'm not anxious to pay for them to deviate away from the library into programs that have, in my opinion alone, have no business being in a library.
No, I would actually pay more money to the Pines for them to pick up these programs.
Yeah, they are. They're programs of Pines, as
They're
I
more
said
set up
before.
for that stuff too. They have the space, they have the big.
Right.
They could do maker space. They could do, you know, it wouldn't all be crammed into those little rooms. The rooms are all just little rooms in the library. It's just a bunch of
The small
nooks and
spaces.
crannies.
Unless I haven't been in there for a while. They must
They
have
do have
cleaned
a
out a lot of
downstairs
books.
meeting room kind of for the kids,
Mhm.
because we used to go down there and there were programs down there like puppet shows.
No,
and
but
stuff.
as I think the older you get, the smaller the building looks. When you
Okay.
go inside, you know,
I know.
when you were young, everything was like, now you go in and go, oh my God, how did we fit 8 people in that room? I don't know. That's just how it feels to me. When the chairs are little tiny chairs and now you look at them and you're like,
Okay.
Who does Tilton, nothing personal.
Yeah.
Who does Tilton use to do their audits?
is it
Forgotten.
Plodzik?
They're what?
Because they said in here that they don't do an audit, but they have,
Oh, Roland Seymour.
Roland Seymour was doing something and they were
He's
talking.
retired.
And they were,
He does retire stuff for people.
Helps them with their
He
payroll. and
retired
stuff.
this year. I know, he totally freaked me out.
but they said that they were looking
I've
at.
personally used him for years. I just depend on him.
It's not
They were
Plodzik
looking
and
at-
Sanderson, is it the town uses?
Say it again?
Plodzik and Sanderson?
No, they use Roland Seymour as their auditor.
No, the town of Tilton.
Said they were gonna change, they were looking at changing to.
Oh,
the
yeah,
same
usually
people
it's
that
Plotnick
Tilton
and
used.
Sanderson, but.
That's usually who the auditor is. That's a pretty big firm. They do a lot
They
of
said it was a
towns.
little
Right.
firm in Franklin.
That's not ours.
That Tilton
That's not
uses?
Closet.
No.
Well, there
Yeah,
was.
when you read,
Tilton
when
has
you
been
read
using
through it
the
all, you
same
read.
auditor for
There was
quite a
like
few
Malone-
years.
Malone and Large.
The principal retired
or-
and one of their
That lady down there.
their employees bought them out and
You
continued.
you might have been, I think you guys might have the one that used to be up by Pichet's on Belmont.
I was
in
gonna
that
say the
little
old
building.
double decker.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say, but I didn't know if you would remember that.
Right.
There was one in that little building there for a long time, and I think that was Tilton.
That's
the
that's
name.
Tilton. That is
They
Tilton.
did Tilton,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't remember the name though.
I can't either.
It was a family name.
Boy, I can see his face now.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the guys from Franklin that I played basketball against. Oh, what was his last name?
I mean, not that it matters, but it's a bigger firm. It's not a little,
It's not a small firm. Well, they're not a giant firm either.
So
The
that you
smart
read
guys,
through, you can
they're
figure
good.
that out.
We've gotten lots of advice from them over the years. Some good, and some scolding.
well, that's their job. Keep you on
It
your
is, and I appreciate it.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
To adjourn.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Don't like that?
Welcome.
That wasn't too bad, an hour?
Boy, we're so efficient.
Well,
that's because-
some of these have been repeats. It's like I really didn't have a lot of
Well,
questions.
I mean,
No,
They don't
well,
even
they're
have
not going out of control.